Mouth Pod. This is Coach Jeff Williams, along with Coach Daryl Fimple and the Mouth Brent Bender. Guys, what a weekend. Before we get into recap, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors for our partnerships, our sponsors that makes this show happen. First of all, our number one sponsor, Lindsay and Associates, that are our number one sponsor that has been our partnership for the last 6 or 7 months. We got All American Steakhouse here in Springdale and the Pigs brand. Without these people, this show would not be possible. Well, guys, let's go ahead and recap from last week. What a bunch of great games. I mean, had some rival games. Daryl, let's look at the Bryant PA game. What did you learn in that situation, in that game?
PA definitely is in the mix. Definitely in the mix because they went to Bryant. I think Coach Lucas had a great game plan there. You could see that they could score points. They got it on the perimeter several times. And I thought their defense held up too. To be honest with you, I was more impressed with what they could do defensively, hanging with Bryant there at Bryant. But being Bryant's just consistent. They don't turn the ball over. Jordan Walker, their quarterback, he's steady as they come.
They are. And then let's talk about Mouth. Osceola really came on against your guys at Newport down there. I mean, Newport's have 2 back-to-back tough losses, which gets two teams. What do you see in Osceola?
Oh, Coach Hooks has got it. They're just coming on. They're just like the little engine that could. They just keep on coming.
Yeah, they are. Just keep playing, very well week in, week out, and they're going to set up for a big match.
Well, they might have had the best running back on the field. I know our guy, but Jeremiah Jacobs had 26 carries for 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. So the old Chops getting ready. You know what this is setting up about 2 weeks?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's going on in Mississippi County?
Yes. It will be the battle in the Tez.
We can smell it up at the Tez, no doubt. Hey, how about Brett Hobbs and Springdale Red Dogs? 6-0, man. Go get, got over the hump. We talked about it here. Felt like they had the best team, but they've had the best team going into that game. Sometimes not happen. What a dominant performance by the Red Dogs.
Yes. Got a big, huge turnover, marched it down, couple 17-play drives, quarterback sneak again. Ponders had 4 touchdowns. Good. He's got them rolling, and and you can just see those kids are believing more and more. Yeah. They are buying into the Red Dogs. Best start since 2005.
Yeah, no doubt. And then your Curly Wolves, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, kind of challenged a little bit. We're a little worried about going on the road to Harmony Grove. Put up a 66 spot there, buddy.
Well, I think this week, I think Coach Glass was working on the JV squad. I think we're going to go a little early today at practice, see if we can fill some holes and gaps up there. We gave up some points there, but we did hang up 66 again. The McCurley Wolves are hot.
They are hot. Well, Daryl, let's get into this. So the last team I'm going to feature, which we'll feature later on, the Farmington Cardinals, hosted Greenbrier, and I'm going to tell you, they looked as offensively, defensively, looked as good as anybody I've saw all weekend.
Yeah, they, like we said, their defense was coming on. Got a great game plan over there, night in, night out. You can see that they've kind of figured out their quarterback situation, and did they? Yeah. Because he put on a heck of a show, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But, yeah, that's going to be a huge matchup. Yeah.
Huge matchup. Let's get in our top 10, Daryl. Here we go, baby. I don't know how much movement we got. This small school top 10. Buddy,
hey, let me tell you about the small school top. Well, it's top 6.
Excuse me.
We got some Mossos in there, but I'm telling you right now, this is the interesting strategy right here. 3A football. You ready? We have 6 teams that are 6-0.
Wow.
In Class 3A. All right, we got 6 teams in Class 2A to 4A. We have 12 teams that are 6-0.
Wow.
Yeah, pick some of them guys in. Somebody's going to be mad this week. I can guarantee you, because we've got a little bit of movement here, a little bit of bumping right here. We got our Alsos. Of course, we talked about Osceola and their big win, 41-27 over Newport. Kind of a statement game there. We had the Arise, or the showcase of Jeremiah Jacobs. Like I told you earlier, he had 26 carries for 226 yards, 2 touchdowns. They got also votes. Arkadelphia drops out of our 6, even though they're winning. I know. We got to move. I just told you. We got people who are 6-0, for God's sakes, all right? Arkadelphia don't get beat early, I guess. Mills is 6-0. Their defense is only giving up 6 points. It's one of those questions, kind of like Parkview's running into now in your conference. It's not very good. Where does that leave you? Come playoff time. Bismarck, big on Bismarck. Got them this week too. The Keithley brothers Coach Keeley's doing a great job there. They're off to a 6-0 start. Fordyce, that's right. Fordyce is 6-0. They're getting also votes. Conway Christian with the Thomas kid at quarterback. They're also 6-0. But number 6, I think we found something here. All right, we got to steady up our defense a little bit. I think Warren's going to crack back at number 6.
We're back.
Yep,
We're back.
Bo's coming back.
Uncle
Bo's
back.
coming back. Yep,
Uncle
yep. We're going to
Bo,
let him back
baby.
in there at number 6. I think they're coming and figured out some stuff there. Kind of settled down at quarterback a little bit. We still got to, tank up front defensively. Number 5 is Carlisle. It's not your daddy's Carlisle. All right, they're averaging about 52 points a game, giving up about 8 or 9. And they do it all over the place. They beat Hampton last week, 54-20. Running in at number 4. This is just going to be a showdown. I think this guy's he is chomping his, he's just beating the drum right now because he knows what's going to come out east, and he's probably going to run into one of those guys. But Boonville Bearcats, 6-0. Doc has just figured out a way to win. Getting better play at quarterback, and they are just plugging it at running back. I mean, they just keep putting guys in there. It's amazing. Had another running back over 100 yards this week. They had a little come to Jesus meeting too.
Yes,
I think
sir.
we got a guy on here that's going to talk about some come to Jesus meetings at halftime because Boonville was giving up some points. Doc got on the radio and said he had to fire him up a little bit there. Coming in at number 3 is our Rivercrest Colts.
Yes, sir.
Our Rivercrest Colts. Cavante Washington.
Hey, guy was sick. They didn't know if he was going to play.
Yeah, he didn't feel bad. So it's like his third completion was about 103 yards. He actually threw a daggum lateral from 99 yards after stopping Hoxie at the 1 yard line. We threw it 3 yards deep in the end zone, and the dude broke it for 100. I mean, that's crazy. Crazy good call, I guess. Rivercrest, like I said, our man had 5 touchdown passes last week. Jaden Young. He's special, man. I'm telling you, he's special. He's actually leading the nation in punt returns.
I saw that.
Now listen to this. The dude's averaging 50 yards of punt return. So if you kick the ball, more than likely it's going past your punter. Yeah. I mean, there's not a high school kid that's kicking it more than 50. Yeah. So that guy was actually leading. He actually
punted out of bounds.
Why are you kicking it to him? I mean, does anybody see this as a national?
Yeah,
I mean,
we
what
went
are you
over
trying
this last year. Hey, that guy, they don't
Yeah.
kick it to that guy.
Quit
man.
kicking it to him. Yeah, it's crazy. So Rivercrest scoring all 3 phases of the game, and then our number 2 team is going to be the Prescott Curly Wolves. We hung 66 up on Harmony Grove last week. A little upset with our JV defense, giving up a couple touchdowns here late to Camden. But Prescott's doing it in many ways. We're giving up 8 points. All right, we dropped down there to 8 points, averaging about 44 a night. They're the only team in the state of Arkansas that are in both the highest scoring offense and lowest scoring defenses. They're in both. That's what Coach Glass does. It's just what he does. That's how we play.
That means you're pretty good.
That means you're pretty good, though. Yeah. Our 2 through 4 this year in the smaller are all 3A schools, and they're all combined 18-0, which is amazing. Our number 1, you got to beat them first. The Elkins Antlers, the Elks. All right. They got the big horns coming. They're averaging over 52 points a game. Got big games coming up on our stretch here. We're going to see where we land there. But like I said, you got to lose your spot in our little 6.
Well, let's get into our big school top 6. I mean, I agree with your list there with your small school. Elkins still sitting there dominating, maybe trying to stay healthy. Everybody this time of year, boy, they're starting to get bumps and bruises, some injuries. Let's get into the big school, man.
The big schools, here we go. Big schools are also a list of big schools. And here's one. They're going to be happy with me. All right. But the McNabbs, the Morrilton Devil Dogs, hey, baby, they're 6-0, man. 6-0 in the West. Kind of took control of the West right now. They're getting some votes there. They got Shallow Christian. All right. They're sliding in there, too, with Griffin Mason, who won over 1,200 yards rushing. Have a new twist for you at Shallow, too. A kid named Max Eldridge. Hey, yeah, little guy can play. Dad might know a little bit about football, too. Max had 7 carries for 121 yards this past week, had an interception. Dude can play. So they're coming on, too. Catholic's another one. Yeah. Got down early in the game to Jonesboro, had to chase them back. Ended up going 6-0. Jackson England, their quarterbacks, off to a great start for them. Catholic can play some defense too. And then, of course, Springdale Red Dogs. They're just looking
Yes,
on the
sir.
outside in. Them and Rogers both. It's the hottest start for Springdale since 2005. We talked about it earlier. And like I said, they don't turn it over. They keep possession of the ball. They're really, really physical up front. Off to a great start. A big, huge win over Springdale Harbor, where our guy went into the Hall of Fame, too.
Yeah.
Coach Cook went into the Hall of Fame, man.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that later
Yeah.
on, man. Bray
Me
Cook, man.
me and the Mouth are the only ones who can't get in the Hall of Fame, honestly. It's crazy. All right. Look on the outside end. Valley View's creeping up on that
Yeah.
6th spot, too, in the big schools. They're coming on. Drew Gartman had a 35-yard touchdown pass and a run this past week in a big win. They stay 6-0. Number 6 is going to be the Benton Panthers, coming in at 5-1. Benton had huge numbers against Sheridan, hung 72 on the Yellow Jackets, which is pretty astounding what their offense is actually doing lately. Once again, I think we had 5 schools score over 70 points.
No.
Yeah. Wow. Defensive coordinators across the state are shaking their heads going, oh, gosh. So Benton's coming in at number 6. Number 5 is going to be the Fayetteville Purple Dogs at 5-1. All right, they're rounding into shape. Got a huge game this week. We'll see where that sets up. A rematch of last year's state championship game. They have several weapons. They had to play the Cruz Coatney at quarterback this past week because of injuries. Had a pretty good game coming in. They scored on special teams a lot against the Grizzlies, though it hurt them. Number 4 is going to be Parkview. And we got us a new video room over there, the James Rouse video room. Oh, yeah. It's high tech, the legendary James Rouse. And then we went out and scored 72 points. Several ways. Then we found out we've got 2 quarterbacks in our system there over at Parkview. I mean, we're just over there it's like we're playing with toys. Number 3, Conway. The Wampus Cats come in. Grayson Wilson had 5 touchdowns this past week against Cabbage, 12 of 18, 269 yards to the air. Several wide receivers caught it. He ran for 3 touchdowns, too. So Conway's just rolling in, beating up on Cabot and the likes. Greenwood's going to be number 2.
I got
7 touchdowns first half this week. I mean, he had video-like numbers. There's just so many weapons they have.
I actually got to see them live this week, and they were very impressive. Of course, quarterback Archer. 7 touchdowns and a half. The receivers are unbelievable. Defensively, also, they look the part. They run well. I think they can play with anybody in the state of Arkansas.
I think you're right on that. Number 1, Bryan Hornets, 6-0. Like I said last week, they got in a battle with PA, got behind for the first time this year. Showed a lot of character there. You could tell that they could just lean on the run game. But I was impressed with both sides, to tell you the truth. I thought PA was really impressive, especially offensively. And I thought they hung with them defensively. Bryant, like I said, Jordan Walker, I think he's got 2 losses in his career.
Yeah.
We might need to check on that, but I think a guy's only lost twice as a quarterback. Yeah. That's kind of like unheard of. But yeah, I think that they are our number 1 team this week. And like I said, they're looking to hold on to that spot.
Well, I like your list there. I think Greenwood's very impressive. Parkview and Brad just trying to keep them focused all the way through this deal. Obviously, Conway's got their big games coming down the stretch. Fayetteville sitting there, and we'll talk about them later on with a huge game this week. But they're overcoming some injuries, but I still think they're the fastest team in 7A, no doubt about it. Well, let's move on to this. Hey, player of the week. Who's our player of the week this week?
Player of the week this week is Aiden Lester, quarterback from Farmington. He was 23 of 32 for 293 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also made Coach Tice's life great because he could carry it also for 12 times for 113 yards and a touchdown. So he had 5 total touchdowns for 406 yards of total offense. So Aiden Lester, quarterback at Farmington High School, you're our player of the week.
All right. Well, I watched him on live stream. Impressive game. Big victory over Greenbrier, who's got a really good football team. He's led them all the way. Johnny Manziel, better keep a guy on that guy. Lester's, he is unbelievable, makes them go. Well, let's do this before we get our top 10s. Let's bring on our Lindsay Associated guest picker. Former head coach at Conway High School, a legend in the state of Arkansas, Coach Kenny Smith. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I've enjoyed it so far.
Well, we're glad to have you on here, Coach. I mean, I got to coach against you, later on in your career. You're a legendary coach in this state of Arkansas. People love you, and you've done a good job. And you keep up. I talk to you, and you keep up with high school football all over the state of Arkansas. And we're happy to have you today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, let's recap right here, guys, from last week. I gave a big speech on here. If you're not ready to play, you'll get beat. I should have gave it to myself. Great. I had an awful week. I went 5-5. The mouth was 7-3. Daryl was 8-2. Our guest picker last week, Matthew Shepard, 6-4. That overall for me, I'm 49-21. Mouth, you're 47-23. Daryl, you're 45-25. And our guest picker's 45-25. Awful week by me because I got complacent, Coach. I got real complacent. Daryl. I mean, in this
cramping. He was cramping.
I was cramping, man. I went on a limb. Got cocky, 9-1 the week
I'm
before.
just glad that we got Shep. Shep's probably going to get reelected.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
He was 6-4 and Mike got reelected.
I got reelected.
Hey, the mouth is going to catch you, Coach Williams, at the poll.
Well, it's getting here.
Catch you.
Well, you might do it. We'll have some bonus picks. Let's get into it real quick. Let's head down to South Arkansas. We got Junction City at Dirks. Dirks coming off a tough loss last week. Junction City with a slow start. People got high expectations. Talked to Coach Ball. They're getting back to the basics after the first 2 weeks of the season, and they've been rolling. Daryl, break this one down for us.
Well, it sounds like that he's got a good plan here. Junction City's 4-2, 3-0 in the conference. They finally figured out the quarterback spot. Junction was kind of struggling there. That spot's kind of got it settled down. They're averaging 36 points a game in the conference play. They're only giving up 7. So the Junction that have owed, I think it's actually showing up. I think they're starting to be able to stop some people. Dirks coming off a loss last week to the Rattlers. All right, Murfreesboro got them. Yeah, 28-16 last week. Dirks has given up about 21 points defensively in the conference play, while they're scoring about 30. Junction, like I said, this is about the time of the year the train gets rolling down there at the old Junction. So Junction's going on the road to Dirks. I think this is a big game for them. I'm going to take Junction City in this one.
Junction City. Mouth, who you like in this one? You're familiar with the Dragons.
Well, the Dragons are starting to do dragon things. They're breathing fire right now. And I'm going to have to go with the Dragons.
Going with the Dragons. Coach Smith, who you like in this one?
Well, I've got to go with the Outlaws. My wonderful mother-in-law is a Dirks Outlaw, and she would never cook me another turkey at Thanksgiving if I didn't go for the Outlaws.
Well, I might need to switch mine. I didn't know we were doing. I'm gonna roll mine back. I didn't know about the turkey thing.
Hey, Coach, that's called picking with your stomach and brain right there.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can be touted. I almost went there.
I'm going to go with Junction City in this one. I'm going with Junction City. All right, staying in 3A. Got Bismarck, they're scary. They got a really good football team. Headed over to Harmony Grove. We thought that they'd give Prescott they beat Junction City earlier in the year. Thought they'd give Prescott a test. That did not happen. Bismarck's rolling. Daryl, break it down.
Bismarck's off to a 6-0 start. Head-on collision probably with Prescott. I think it's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
But last week they beat Falk 55-14. The Keithley brothers, Caden Keithley had 3 touchdowns last week against Falk. Ben Keithley ran for a touchdown, also threw 2 of them. I think he actually threw them to his brother, which is kind of cool. I mean, what does Dad do? Hey, throw it to your brother. He's over. Awesome. They do go to Camden Harmony Grove. Like I said, we've had some early success there. They're still 2-1 in the league play. Got beat by Prescott 66-22 last week, but like I said, Prescott's probably going to do that to a lot of people. They're averaging about 52 points a game, but the bad thing is they're giving up a whole bunch of points too on the other side. But Bismarck, this is kind of a statement game for them.
Yes, it is.
You want to beat the man. You want to set up for the big time games. This is the games that you got circled on your calendar right here. Going to Camden Harmony Grove. I know they'll have Camden Harmony Grove's attention. I think they will too, because Harmony Grove's looking at that 2 seed now that they got beat by Prescott. Right here is that you're playing for that for something. But I'm going to go with Bismarck on the road to win this one. I think the Keithley boys and Coach Keithley does a great job. So I think they've got a little more than Camden Harmony Grove.
Well, and there's a little history there. Coach Keithley, he's coaching Harmony Grove, was there for a little while. So, I mean, there's some history, and he knows the program. Mouth, what do you think about this South Arkansas matchup here?
Well, I think the Keithley family has a little bit too much for Harmony Grove. I'm going with Bismarck.
Going with Bismarck. Coach Smith, what do you think about this one?
Well, I appreciate Coach Fempel touting me on this, and I'm going with Bismarck.
Coach Smith's going with Bismarck. I'm going with Bismarck too. Too much offense, too much speed, too many skilled guys. All right, guys, headed over to God's country. We got Walnut Ridge and our Rivercrest Colts, man. The Colts, we've been rolling. Walnut Ridge was picked to win this conference by the coaches coming into the season. Had a tough loss against Osceola. Here we go, Daryl. Break this one down.
Well, like I said, this whole league, we said from the very get-go, is going to be phenomenal. Walnut Ridge is off to a 5-1 start, 2-1 conference play. They beat Pickett last week, 43-8. Jersey Cunningham plays quarterback, running back, you name it. He's over. He's almost got 1,200 yards of total offense. He's got 7 touchdowns on the ground. He's rushed for 852 yards. Enrique Perez is their running back. He had 3 touchdowns last week against Pickett. Walnut Ridge is good up front too. The only thing is Osceola is hot right now too.
They are.
They're pretty hot, but poor Walnut Ridge is having to come to the Tez. Right. People tell a lot of stories about the Tez. All right. Great shot this week of the American flag and the interstate just shining over our lights there. We got to come home to Rivercrest. Rivercrest got off to a hot start against Hoxie. Like we said, our quarterback was a little sick. Cavante was sick. Yeah, he was so sick that he threw for 4 or 5 touchdowns and ran a couple back. They're just explosive on all areas of the ball. The Rivercrest Colts. Buda Harris is leading all 3A in yardage, wide receiver at 391. We talked about Jaden Young earlier. The Williams kid he has 200 yards rushing and 200 yards receiving already. He's also averaging 40 yards a kickoff because they're kicking it to him. Yeah. I mean, golly, he's the only guy back there. I mean, I think they actually have a spotlight on him when they're actually kicking it. And they're still kicking it to him. I don't know what we're trying to prove there, but I'm smart enough not to kick it to the guy anyway. But like I said, the Colts are averaging 44 points a night. Walnut Ridge, like I said, if they want to get back in the middle of the race, this would be a huge game for them. But I think our Colts have too much at home, and they understand what's on the line too.
Yeah.
I think this is a big game for them too. They can get some distance between them in that 1 seed. So I'm going to take Rivercrest Colts at home.
Rivercrest Colts at home. Mouth, you were over there this past week, handing out Player of the Week award. You've got over to God's country to Wilson. You saw a few practices. What's going on over there, and who you like in this one?
I'm going to go ahead and tell you the Wilson Rivercrest, get ready. The Mouth is on his way Friday night to the game. The Mouth is going to be there. Hopefully, Coach Fempel will get his daughter's recruiting trip worked out, and he's with me. But if he's not, the Mouth is running solo.
So you're headed over to Wilson this week?
Yes, sir.
All right.
And I've got to tell you, Walnut Ridge has a really good football team, but Rivercrest has just got too much. Cavante Washington and Buda Harris. Those two can control a football game. I'm just telling you, and they got the nation's #1 punt returner and kick returner. I mean, how many ways can we beat you? If we can stop you. They can stop us on 3 downs, punt to them. Let's score quick. It's just incredible. But the Mouth can't wait to get to Rivercrest on Friday night. He's going with the Rivercrest Colts.
Going with the Colts also. Coach Smith, you know all about Rivercrest in your time. Coach Graham over there. Talk to us a little bit about this one. Walnut Ridge, who's picked,
Well, I have I got 2 golfing buddies that graduated from Wilson High School. And that I would never get back in the golf game if I didn't pick Rivercrest. I'm going with the Colts.
The coach is going with the Colts also. I'm going with the Colts. I think they're this is a big game though. I mean, for this one seed and Walnut Ridge, I mean, big game, and that conference is just loaded up. All right, let's head down to South Arkansas. Got Monticello, a surprising Monticello team at Stuttgart, who had a disappointing loss last week. Can't figure them out. Kind of up and down a little bit. Yeah, this is a big conference game for both of these teams. Daryl, break it down.
Well, Monticello had a big, huge win last week against Star City, 22-7. You look at their scores. They got the big loss to Warren, 21-30. Like I said, I think Bo's got those guys figured out. Monticello's, like I said, 4-2, 2-1. They're going on the road to Stuttgart. It all starts with Kane Price, the quarterback there at Stuttgart. He's 82 of 117 for 1,238 yards and 15 touchdowns. Deontay Clark's their big-time wide receiver on the outside. He has 36 catches for 546 yards and 7 touchdowns. But Stuttgart, they just go into lulls where they can't score.
Yeah.
It's just weird. They'll be explosive one week and not the next. Of course, it does play into what DeWitt does too. DeWitt, they'll run it at you and keep you off the field. But this is at home. This is kind of a huge game for Stuttgart. I think it's even a bigger game for Monticello, though, because you're going to figure out real fast where they stand in this thing. And I'm going to say that Monticello is going to go to Stuttgart this week and win.
Monticello. Mouth, who you like in this one? You used to live in Stuttgart. What's that program?
I'm going to tell you. DeWitt dominated Stuttgart Friday night. They dominated them from the get-go, or right after a turnover in the first or second half, and it was DeWitt all the way the rest of the way. But I feel like I'm going to go with Coach Josh. I'm going to go with the Price family on this. I'm going to go Stuttgart Redbirds.
Stuttgart Redbirds. Coach Smith, what do you think about this one right here?
Okay, I've got as Daryl probably really well knows, is Brooke Mines is from Stuttgart. She's a Riceburg. And again, she would never speak to me again if I picked other than the Riceburgs. And I have another close friend, Todd Barnes, son's a 10th grader. So there's another friend I'd lose.
Yeah.
Probably back in the day, I was probably one of the premier duck hunters. So I'm going with the Riceburgs. I've never shot a gun, Daryl.
Oh, great. All great reasons right there. Legendary reasons right there.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, this is a big game in that conference, obviously. I'm going to go with Monticello. I just think they're just playing more consistent week in, week out. So I'm going to go with them. All right, heading back over to God's country. This is a big matchup. Possible conference championship right here. Both of them are undefeated. We got Highland at Southside. Southside's, already beat Pocahontas, so they're kind of in the driver's seat a little bit there. Highlands had some difficulties off the field, an accident and things like that, but they've kind of come back on and regrouped and as much as they can. But this ought to be an outstanding game. It's one we talked about earlier this summer. Daryl, break this one down.
Well, like you said, both teams coming in undefeated. Highlands coming off a 44-20 win over Blytheville. In conference play, they're only giving up about 16 points a night. They're averaging about 44. So they're pretty explosive on offense, the Highland is, the Rebels. And they go to Southside Batesville, though. We're big on Southside Batesville. Last year, I think that they laid some foundation there, got that millage passed. Hey, man, we got a weight room now. We got all kinds of things going. We're 6-0, 3-0 in the conference. Beat Jonesboro Westside last week, 43-7. We're giving up 4 points a game in conference play. And, that was a 10-7 game against Pocahontas. So, we gave up most of our points there. Like I said, we've got a big, huge home game here. You can take control of the conference lead right here. So I'm going to take Southside Batesville at home over Highland.
Southside Batesville at home. Mouth, what do you think about this one?
I'm gonna go Southside myself. Southside Batesville.
Southside Batesville. Coach Smith.
Well, it used to be called Hardy Highland, and I don't know what Hardy did to get kicked off the team, but I'm going with Highland.
Going with Highland. Coach Smith's going with Highland. I'm going with Batesville Southside because I'll never pick Highland. No, I shouldn't say that. They're big rivals back in the day, but I just thought I'm gonna go with Southside. I think that they're primed and ready to go on this one. All right, Daryl. This next game, I mean, good gracious life. This is, I mean, it's almost a loser leave town match here. I mean, because one of them here could be bumped out of the playoffs. One of the, I mean, big game. Alma at Greenbrier. My gosh, Alma's lost two unbelievably close games last week in overtime. Greenbrier's kind of been on a streak dealing with injuries. Thanks, Farmington pretty much dominated them. This matchup right here, we thought Greenbrier was going to be right there in the mix. They've got a couple of losses just on a couple of bad plays, and Alma's in the same boat here. I mean, they're going to have to be playing at the highest level both teams this week.
Well, here's the thing: is that not only are you playing for your playoff life, you're also playing not to be the 4.
That's true.
You don't want to run into somebody's 1 like what happened last year, because that 1 could be Parkview out there. So you don't want anything to do with that. Alma's 3-3 on the year, 1-10 conference play. Having trouble at the old home stadium winning.
Yeah,
I wonder why. Huh? Keep telling you. Just name the field. For God's sake, just put a poster board up. I mean, it's Frank Vines Field. For God's sakes, if you just do it, we'd probably start winning a little bit. Anyway, here's the problem with Alma. We're giving up lots of points, man. 82 points in 3 games, almost 41 points a game. People are hanging on us in conference play. So we got to go on the road here and find a way to stop some people. It's going to be hard, too. Greenbrier at home is a different team also.
Yeah.
The Enoch Hassan kid is over 1,000 yards almost. He's right at 900 and something, over 10 touchdowns. They lost to Farmington last week, 39-27, but they're scoring points. So both defenses are kind of trying to figure out how to stop people. But Greenbrier at home on this one, I just don't think Alma can stop them from scoring. I think I'm going to take Greenbrier in this one.
Greenbrier at home. All right,
name the field. Just name the field. That's all we got to do. Name the field.
Well,
not rocket science. Just name the field.
Yeah. Mouth, what do you think about this one? I mean, these guys here are desperate. I mean, they need this win. Both teams.
This brings back old professional wrestling days.
Yeah.
You lose, as you said, you lose or leave town.
I mean, it's one of them deals, man. We've got to wait to get in, man.
And I hate to do it to my compadre Daryl over there to go against his, but he did it. He went against the Alma Airedales. I'm going Greenbrier.
Going Greenbrier. Mouth's going Greenbrier. Coach Smith, you're close to this. Greenbrier's right down the road.
Yeah.
You know a lot of those guys. Talk to us a little bit about this.
Well, I'm probably going to lose 3 friends. The Mulder brothers are Alma Airedales. 2 good coaching friends are Alma Airedales. The best barber in the whole state.
Yeah.
But I'm going with Greenbrier, my Faulkner County brethren, and because I have to live here.
I love it. Well, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna give Greenbrier one more shot. I've been on that wagon all year. I ain't trying to jump off now. I think. I mean, you're gonna see people playing extremely hard in this game, and people playing at a top level. I'm going with Greenbrier also since they're at home. All right, number 4. Let's get it out there. Got Farmington with a huge win over Greenbrier at home last week in homecoming. And I got to watch those guys, and Coach Tice has got that offense with Coach Watley running like a well-oiled machine. Defensively, Coach Moreland has got that bunch playing, and they're gotten better and better in each week. Great defensive effort by Farmington last week. And then you got to talk about Clint Ashcraft. Nobody's been talking about them. You have a little bit. They've been down went to Alma last week. They're sitting there winning overtime, 5-1 or whatever they are. And Daryl, break this one down. This is going to be a great matchup.
Well, it really is. But like you said, I think Bolonya just figuring out ways to score different ways. They've taken advantage of turnovers. And like I said, I thought they just got something about them. I think he's got them believing in themselves and really coaching those kids up. I think Bologna's off to a great start. They're going to travel to Farmington. Farmington last week, Aiden Lester, our player of the week, had an unbelievable 400 yards of total offense. And I think that there might not be a better defensive coach with adjustments in second halves than Coach Moreland's doing right now at Farmington, because they come out with a whole different plan. And I'm telling you, the kids are really playing fast around there. Farmington's at home. I think Farmington understands too.
No. They're at Bolonya.
Oh, they're going to Bolonya. I thought they were at home. All right. Well, that kind of changes some things, but I think Farmington understands how big this game is too. I mean, you can take control of the West here. Everybody was picking you to begin with. I think this is a big, huge road. Could be a little bit of a trap there too. I don't know how much Bologna's got in them from last week's game too. They're going to have to, that was a long game.
Yes, it was
too. So I'm going to take Farmington on the road to beat Bologna.
I'm taking Farmington. Coach Mouth, what are you liking this one right here?
You know where I'm going, Jeffy. You know where I'm going. But I must say, we're going to give you. We got a head coaching matchup for the ages right here. Coach Clint Ashcraft leading the Bologna Screaming Eagles, and the veteran Tommy Tice doing Tommy Tice things at Farmington. But I'm going to have to go with Bologna at home. It's a long bus ride from Farmington for the Cardinals down to Bologna Friday night.
Well, and you jumped on that last week, and you picked them. You're the only one that picked them, and Coach Ashcraft took notes of that. All right, Coach Smith, you're close to this one too. I mean, Bologna's right down the road, and you know Coach Ashcraft really well, and you know Coach Tice well.
Well, I know yes.
And Coach Watley will get on you too. So just
I know Watley. I'll see him at the clinic. And again, it's Faulkner County, and defensive coordinator up there is a guy named Buck Bean, and he's just like a child to me. He's just like one of my sons. And Clint too. I have a lot of respect for Clint. I have a lot of respect for Watley and a lot of respect for Tice. But I live here. I got to go with Buck Bang and the Eagles.
Go with the Eagles. Coach Smith is going with the Eagles. All right. I'm going to make this perfect clear. I am getting on the Farm to Cardinals bandwagon here a little bit. They've got to watch them last week. They've been giving me a hard time. I think the Farmington Cardinals are, like I said, I think they're playing really good football on both sides of the ball right now. Coach Ashcraft will have a plan. What's he going to do with Lester? Are we going to, because we're going to play coverage or are we going after the guy? He's got a big decision to make this week, and so it'll be interesting. But I'm going to go with the Farmington Cardinals. I think they're just too much. All right, coming up here, the Northwest Arkansas 7A West matchup. We got the Springdale Bulldogs, who are undefeated for the first time since 2005 at Rogers. Daryl, you've talked about Rogers a little bit. I like what they're doing offensively, spreading out with empty. You got a quarterback that can run it, and he's good enough to flick it out there. Coach Harbison and them are doing a great job. Coach Hobbs and them, boy, they got some momentum. This could be for a 2 or 3 seed right here. I mean, you got to look at it. A bye week possible. There's games still to play with Bentonville and some others, but this is a big matchup. This could be for a home playoff game.
Yeah, especially Rogers dropped the heartbreaker there to Fayetteville.
Yeah,
that kind of sets them back a little bit. But man, Springdale, you got to think about this. They got Rogers, Fayetteville, and Bentonville left on their schedule, so they can make some ground here. And like I said, it's the first time they're believing since 2005. That's almost 20 years, man. So you got to love the story that's being told there. I think that Rogers you can just tell the coach has done a great job. He's kind of took his lumps there early with this group, and then they've kind of grown up a little bit. They can score.
Yes,
I mean, they can score with just about anybody there is. Defensively, it's just can they hold up? You got to like Springdale in games like this, though, because they're not going to turn it over. They're going to ground it and pound it. And, they've done a really good job. Last week we were worried about can Harbor, as explosive as they are on offense, can you keep them off the field, or can you stay back deep enough and play coverage and keep them at bay? But the biggest game in that was that they got on the other side of the turnovers. They caused some turnovers. So
and short fields, Daryl. I know Harbor went for it. Boom, they take it right down open drive and go score and make a statement. And Coach Kenneth Chick, the DC at Springdale, had an outstanding plan against those guys.
Yeah, I think he's got he's going to have his hands full this week, because like I said, I think Rogers is really, and they're a really good football team.
Yes, sir.
I mean, a really, really good football team. And like I said, if I mean, it's a crazy play to get beat on, but they end up getting dropping that to Fayetteville. We got Springdale here that's rolling. Like I said, for the first time since 2005, long drives. Can they sustain long drives against Rogers? And that's going to be the key of the game. So I'm going to take Springdale to continue the mission here. The mission is going to be continued on. This is the stuff they make movies about, Red Dogs. They make movies about this stuff right here. All right. All right. Live in the moment here. Right here. Oscar award-winning movie right here. I don't know who's going to play Coach Hobbs in the movie, but this is the movie that needs to continue on. I mean, we got to find like some big guy that used to wrestle, maybe like The Rock or something. Have him do the Hobbs. Yeah. This is it. This is what they're rolling for. I think their kids are believing.
They are. Mouth, what do you think about this one?
This is such a tough game to pick. Rogers is explosive with the quarterback, and they've got a fine wide receiver. Coach Hobbs is just doing a masterful job at Springdale this year. If Springdale can keep having those 17-play drives that produce points, it's 12-minute quarter. The last time I checked, 17 plays is a lot of time off the clock. But I am going to step out on a limb and forgive me, Springdale, you're having a great year, but I'm going Rogers Mounties.
On the Rogers Mounties. Coach Smith, you played both these teams. You know all about it. You're close to that 7A classification there at Conway, but you keep up with the West also. What's your breakdown on this one?
Well, I'm really glad to see both of them having a great year. I think that's awesome for the coaches and their children, and it's just that's awesome. But really, I'm going with athletic director at Springdale. I'm picking Springdale.
Oh, that's right. He's a Wampus cat. He's
Amen.
But you're my favorite Wampus cat, Coach Smith.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, this could go either way. How this ball bounces. This, I'm gonna go with Roger. I think they can outscore them. I think, but like I said, Coach Chick's gonna have a plan for them. This could go either way. Tight ball game. I'm taking Rogers in this one. All right, here we go. Small school game of the week right here, guys. We got our number one team, Daryl Elkins, traveling over to Prairie Grove. Prairie Grove just does what they do, and they are winning. They're physical. It's tough to get prepared for these guys. Elkins is dealing with banged up here or there. Talk to me about this game. Coach Watson's worried about this
one. Well, that's what all good coaches do. We all worry. Elkins is coming in averaging almost 62 points a game in conference play. They hung 58 up on Lincoln. Dude's worried. They beat Lincoln last week 58-0. He's worried. They're giving up 7.8 points a game in conference play. They do travel to Prairie Grove, and Prairie Grove is kind of a different matchup. It's going to be a physical game, especially up front with Prairie Grove. They're off to a 5-1 start, 3-0 on the conference season. They beat Berryville last week 62-3. I mean, both these guys are just annihilating people in conference play. They're defensively, they're giving up 3 points. 3 points a game, get a field goal kicker in. So something's got to give right here. They're averaging almost 54 points a game. Prairie Grove is too. So in conference play. So both of them are kind of on the collision course right here. Prairie Grove's playing at home. I still don't understand why they don't play on the battlefield. I still don't understand that. Marketing alone, you would make a gajillion dollars if you just played on the battlefield. But anyway, Prairie Grove does got Elkins at home. This is a big statement game. I know Coach Watson's worried about being healthy, but man, he'd have to lose a lot of people to be unhealthy because he's got some playmakers on that side of the ball. There's only one ball too. You only have to give it to one of them. So I'm going to take Elkins on the road over Prairie Grove. But shockingly, I think this will be closer than we think.
I agree with you. Mouth?
I'm going Elkins Elks all the way.
Mouth's going with Elkins Elks all the way. Coach Smith, break this one down before we got a little wing tee going, a little spread going against each other. You know that wing tee stuff, so talk to us a little bit about this.
Yeah, it's very deceptive. But I'm going with the Elks. I'm going with the Elkins Elks.
Elks. I'm going with the Elks too. Too much firepower. I think Coach Watson and them are on a mission. All right, here we go. Our big school game of the week. Fayetteville, Bentonville. Before we get into this one, let's go ahead and bring on our Lindsay and Associated guests, co-defensive coordinators, Coach Devontae Brett and Derek Davis. I'd like to bring on our Lindsay and Associated guests, co-defense coordinator, Coach Derek Davis, Coach Devontae Brett from the Fayetteville Purple Dogs. Guys, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Yes, sir.
Well, guys, let's get into it a little bit. I mean, you guys, I've got to watch you play. I mean, defensively, I think, be honest with you, in 7A, y'all got the fastest football team there is. Just what I've seen. And obviously, y'all got a lot of speed. Talk to me, some of you had to replace some guys a little bit on defense this past year. Talk to me. You had a challenging preseason with, that Texas High game, back and forth, some of the most phenomenal athletes I've seen. We go to Rogers. They got a good scheme. They always play y'all well. And now, boom, we're sitting here getting ready for your big rival, Bentonville, which has always been a showdown for the conference championship. A lot of ball to play. Talk to us a little bit. What's your progression, Derek, first, about where y'all are up front and defensively so far this year?
We kind of spent the last 3 or 4 weeks going back and checking some boxes. Every year we returned a bunch of kids, but every year you kind of got a new identity. And one of the things we really hung our hat on was weak side pressure, or being, fast pressure. And I think as a pressure team, trying to go back and establish. And I thought we did a really good job against Northside. I thought in the second half against Rogers, we did a pretty good job. And we've kind of transitioned. A year ago, we were real hot on the edges. Right now, our inside pressures are pretty good. And we're kind of going back and building back in a package that fits us, where you can get to it from anywhere, but feel really good about that stuff. At the nose position, we returned senior Jackson Olivers. The guy's played 3 years at Force 99, great looking kid. Rhett Tidwell's a return all-stater inside. The other Dax Forden, it was a transfer from Bentonville, but was an all-conference player up there, plays inside linebacker. Slankard was an all-conference guy here. He's playing outside. He replaced Landon Jones. Luke Robley was the 7A West Defensive Newcomer of the Year. He's also the 7A 100-meter champion, plays nickel for us. Jack Kessner was out a lot last year, had a hamstring deal, but wears 0, plays really good. And then Jaden Holt, number 7, that played the middle third safety for us last year, has come down to play on the D-line and try to fill the humongous shoes of Caden Spencer. Desarion Patterson, another kid that plays in there for us. And then we recently moved Gibson Griswold, can play Mike and then down the line. But we kind of had tried to take those kids every week and identify ways to get them lined up to produce the same result, which for ours is just chaos in the backfield, but done in a way where we're sound in the middle of the field, funnel and run out. And we're not there yet, but we're way closer than we were 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Well, and that's the progression. I mean, obviously, you're going to get better each week. Coach Brett, you got the Bentonville Tigers here coming in, and they've always been explosive. They're running the football. They can throw it all. So you've played them enough, both of you guys. I'll let you answer, Devontae, is you're going to put your big boy pants on a little bit on this one. I mean, up front wise, they're always real good and run the football. What do you go in your mindset? Obviously, you got to tackle them, and they can get behind you also. So you're on the back end. What's your mindset going into this week?
Well, the thing that they do that makes it difficult for any defense is they're going to be very balanced and very multiple. And coaching football, if you have to go defend the run just as much as you do, the pass, and really all types of passes, the screen game, the quick game, the intermediate game, and the play action deep shots, like that's really tough to do. And so they do a great job with that every year. I think they got a really good coaching staff and a good system, to give those guys a chance every year. But where we've kind of made some hay is just being kind of okay within that multiplicity and within that balance. Like, what's the best stuff and how can we take that away or make that more difficult? Now, I think that's how we've been able to have some success versus these guys. We're very familiar. We played a bunch, and even playing twice last year. That's a tradition. That goes back to the Daryl Patton days. And things like that. That put some life back into the rivalry, but. Our kids will be fired up, and we're going to try to give them the best plan that we can to go out there and execute. And it's, the same thing that you deal with any football game. Is how disciplined can you be? How detail oriented can you be? Can you play with great eyes? Can you communicate? And if you can go do that, you'll give yourself a chance.
Well, Derek, I'm going to throw this back at you. You guys, both of you, I want you to answer this one. y'all been through you coming out defending state champions. Y'all hadn't been in this position. Everybody wants a little bit more. The complacency and things like that sometimes trickle in. It's a different journey so far this year than what it was last year at this time, or is it kind of the same?
It's different. When I was a GA, my very first job, I coached offensive line at Greenwood High School for Rick Jones. And the first thing I did when we won a state title, when we won last year, is before we came back in January, I called and had a conversation with Rick. And I'd done it the year they had won it the year before I got there, and I kind of had Rick take me through you know, pitfalls, things to avoid, and really points of emphasis. And there's stuff we have to get better at, but it's not complacency, man. I've been really proud of our kids, and it starts with Red Tidwell and guys like that inside. Been enormously proud of their approach, and from the very beginning, they wanted to put the hard hat on and pick the hammer and go back to work. Like it was never about, hey, we made it. And they have been really, really good about those things. Like I said, some of that comes back from him. But we started off on that foot and talked about having a target on our back. And I've never felt like more than any normal kids do, that we relaxed. I never felt that out of this group. They've been great.
Well, good. You elaborate a little bit more, Devontae. I mean, your first journey, and it is different, though.
It is definitely like, getting the kids used to, being the defending champs and just knowing that you're going to get everybody's best shot, and being at Fayetteville, there's some of that already baked in just because of the expectations and the prestige of the program, since the 2000s. A lot of people hold us in high regard, and we're going to go. They're going to go try to give us their best game. But when you're state champs, there's kind of a little more added weight to that. And so I wouldn't say that there's a pressure, I don't know if it changes our process and what we do, anything differently. We may talk about, just being, ready and prepared a little bit more, but we do that anyway. The biggest thing is it's like people are going to show up here and, they're going to go play lights out, and they're going to go try to have the best plan that they have. And they're going to go out there and have that, hey, we got nothing to lose mentality. And so if there's anything that they've been holding or saving, we're likely to get it. I think you saw that, a couple weeks ago, when we played Rogers, like they did some things that, were not on film at all, that they had, in the holster waiting on us. And, kudos to those guys. They got a great coaching staff, but, it's on us. We got to go adjust and, and be flexible and get the guys in the best, coverage, call front, call blitz, call whatever it is for that situation and just go find a way to get through the game. And kudos to our kids, like, a lot of people think Fayetteville's glitz and glamour, but you go watch our kids, like our kids fight. They fight and they're tough. And we've been in the hole sometimes already this year and we clawed our way out of it, and so, kudos to those kids for that.
Well, talk to us a little bit about this. You got to go over to Bentonville, tough place to play. I mean, it's one of the toughest places to play in the state of Arkansas. It's always big crowd, the dressing deal, people are on top of you, the whole thing. Talk to me a little bit about this. You can look at their record, but they're a lot better football team than what their record shows. They played national powers and things like that. You guys have also. What are we looking for here? What's a matchup or something we really need to be zoning in on? Not trying to give things away here. What's some matchups that we get, well, this is going to be, our best guy against their best guy, those type of things. Talk to me a little bit what y'all got to establish to win the football game defensively, but what are some matchups we also want to look at?
In the 3 games we've won against them, and even the one we lost by 1 point in overtime, the 4 times we played them, pressure was the key. And it's just, like I said, it's making sure that we can apply pressure. They're good enough every year that if you give a quarterback, more than 2 seconds, if it turns into 7-on-7, you're in trouble. So we got to find a way to get pressure there quick. We got to make sure that running backs don't have time to find running lanes. And we got to make sure that we're physical on the line of scrimmage. And that means whether it's with an offensive lineman, whether it's jamming a tight end, whether it's not letting receivers get clean releases, owning the screen game on the perimeter. But nothing fast, nothing easy, and the pressure's got to arrive. And it's got to arrive quick, fast, in a hurry, and frequently.
No doubt. Go ahead, Devontae.
I think we do a good job of being calculated with that stuff too. But one of the things that they have that makes it very tough is they have a what I would call a college style or pro style, tight end. They have like a do-it-all tight end guy, Eli Brooks on 40, who does everything. Like he's physical in the run game. He can, catch screens. He can run routes downfield, play action like guys lose them all the time. Like that makes it tough. And so we're going to try to make sure that we always keep, pay attention to that guy. If I say there's one matchup, if we can control that guy and limit his big playability, I think we have some pieces to do that. I think we'll be fine.
Be a huge challenge. I'm gonna let you get off on this one. You talked about last week. It's just kind of go in the huddle a little bit here, and I think because people don't understand it, is Rodgers came out and showed something they hadn't shown on film all year long. Talk to our audience a little bit about what you got to give kudos to your kids getting the adjustments. You sit there and practice for 2 hours, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then rep it on Thursday, and all the film work. Boom, it's something we hadn't practiced on. Talk to him about getting those guys over there and trying to get that fixed, and getting kids were in a short period of time getting all that fixed. And kudos to you guys for fixing it. But talk to us a little bit about getting in that huddle and trying to fix all that.
Number one is managing emotions. Like schematically, like we knew where we needed to go pretty quick.
Yeah.
It took about 2.5 series to kind of get them in the huddle and figure out like, hey, like you got to reset. It almost became like team camp. Like,
yeah,
about that some last week. Like we do this regularly in the summertime. We have a base. Let's do what we know. Even if it comes down to counting who's in the backfield, who's on the perimeter, get lined up, and then let's start there and then work our way out. And about the time we kind of got our feelings out of it, things started going our way. But it wasn't. It wasn't the schematics. I don't know. Were really an issue for about 2 series. Like it was good. Like the stuff was good.
yeah.
I felt like emotions on top of that. Just those kids going out there and not getting what they expected, having a reset was pretty tough. But to me, like I said, once we managed the emotions and me and Coach Britt figured out like, hey, this is probably where we need to go. And really the game plan was still the same, like contain one, the quarterback. Don't let 14 have the whole shot deep ball. Manage everything else. Now you had to go about it a way different direction. once you got the kids on board with that, it was fine. But there was about a 20-minute period where if you was in me and Coach Britt probably were real sad. And I'm not sad. I just feel like what's the guy from the Green Mile that takes on everybody else's sadness? Like I'm taking I'm like, you guys managing that emotions, just getting them to get back to zero and calm down. After that, they were good.
Well, that's awesome. People don't understand that. I mean, you sit there and practice, and it can be panic mode. Guys not where they're supposed to be seen on film. And kudos to you guys. You two are through the best of the business of fixing it.
That's the flip side. These kids take an enormous amount of pride in performance. That's why they're so good. And when it doesn't go their way, that's the flip side of managing that. Like it's a real letdown for them. Like they want to go be the best, and just having to stop and reset. Like I said, that was a tough part. But that's also the part that when things go well, that's how you get the snowball going.
Exactly. And you guys do a phenomenal job with that. And that's interesting getting into that process. A lot of times it's not X's and O's, it's dealing with people and what you deal with every day. Well, guys, hey, appreciate you coming on, being our Lindsay Associate guest. We're going to send you 2 T-shirts, both of you, and send you a gift card, All-American, $100 gift card to All-American Steakhouse here in Springdale. Guys, good luck to you this Friday night, and we'll have you on down the road because you've got a lot more big games down the road also. So good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Hopefully we can get Coach Fimp picking us on a regular basis.
Hey, Coach Fimp said he was on earlier, man.
We converted him out.
Yeah, the mouth.
We met him at Cabot. He's on board, man. He's one of us.
He is, there's a lot of noise, and we brought it up here. You guys are regulars on the show and watch it. Coach Fimp started coming around on the Purple Dogs a little bit. I think he's going to come around this week. I mean, send a message here, guys, to Coach Fimp.
You would think after 13 in those state championships, we'd have a little bit of, a little bit of credibility with our guys.
My street address is Alma, man. Like we're basically Crawford County brothers. You know what I mean? Like I live right up the road from Fimsky Park.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, he's been waiting around, but he'll get this message, guys. I'll make sure he gets the message and everything because Mouth told us when we got back from the Cabot game, people were yelling from the bus and everything else, talking to him. And he says Coach Reed has not spoke to him anymore, and people are calling, telling him not to pick the other team because he's been a It's kind of been in a lull here lately, so you know how it goes and everything. Well, guys, I'll let you get back to work. Good luck to you. I always do my favorites, and you guys do a phenomenal job, and good luck the rest of the season.
Appreciate
Thanks, Coach.
you. Go Dogs.
See you guys. Well, guys, you can feel that this game right here, Fayetteville at Bentonville. This has been for a conference championship, obviously for years and years.
This has been for state titles, man.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah.
They played for it last year. Bentonville has loaded up their schedule. They've been through it, man. Fayetteville's had a pretty tough schedule. Texas High game back and forth. Only one loss. Had a scary one over at Rogers. You can sometimes throw the records out the window on with these two teams, and it's a huge rival. And I don't think they're just real fond of each other either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not. We're just gonna throw that in. They don't like each other. Let's just say it like it is. Okay, we don't like it.
Yeah,
we just don't like each other, man. All right, we're just battling along here. Fayetteville had a big win last week against Northside, 42-7. Had to start sophomore quarterback Cruz Coatney. His dad was a legendary quarterback himself there at Greenwood. Cruz went 9 of 21 for 152 yards, 2 touchdowns, threw 4 picks though. But it didn't seem to hurt him very much. He hit Delamar, Jason Delamar, their wide receiver, who's just explosive. He had 69-yard touchdown catch against Northside. He's over about 600 yards receiving. Garrett Odom's been their quarterback. We'll see this week what happens. They're averaging about 44 points a game on offense in league play. Special teams came up huge for them last week. For Fayetteville. Defensively, I don't know. We've struggled a little bit defensively, and I didn't think we would with that linebacking core that Fayetteville does. But man, are they fast!
Yes, sir.
I mean, they're fast on both sides of the ball, and like you said earlier, they're by far the fastest. Them and Conway both. You could line them up; they could have a heck of a track meet between those two. They are traveling to Bentonville. Coach Grant, he's not scared to play anybody. Went 0 for 3 in non-conference play, but has kind of steadied the ship here, got some confidence back in his team. They beat Rogers last week 48-0. They entered, Heritage, Rogers Heritage. I'm sorry. They beat Rogers Heritage 48-0 last week. They're giving up 11 points in conference play. Now they have played the bottom half of the conference, but like I said, I think it's getting their confidence back. Chris Finkel is their running back at 151 yards the last game out. So Bentonville's at home here. Coach Grant's teams always get better as the year goes on and on and on because they figure some stuff out here. His son Trevor's kind of settled into the quarterback position too. The big thing here is who's going to turn the ball over.
Yep.
I think it's going to be one of those games where you're going to have to make sure that you're taking care of the ball. And like I said, you don't want Fayetteville on offense very long. You want to get as many 3 and outs as you can if it's possible and try not to give up big, huge plays to them. But I think in this one, I think Fayetteville's got too much speed. I think they go to Bentonville and win this one. Fayetteville Purple Dogs.
Purple Dogs for Fimp. Mouth, you've seen Fayetteville in action this year. Talk to us about this one.
I'm going to tell you exactly how it's going to break down.
All right.
Fayetteville's got one thing that causes Bentonville great pain. And what is that? That is speed. Fayetteville will start running at Bentonville High School, and they won't stop till they get to Martin Luther King Street and Fayetteville High School at the end of the game. At the end of the day, okay.
Somebody picked, Fayetteville get knocked off early in the year, and it's just kind of motivated them into crushing people's dreams.
I wonder who picked Fayetteville to go down early this year. I wonder who that was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Coach Smith, both of these teams. You're the old Wampus Cats have battled with the Purple Dogs, and you've seen Bentonville live this year. Big, huge game. The implications of this game. Break this down for us, Coach.
Daryl and Mouth made some great points. They both did. And, after coaching in those venues and the home crowd, the students, just their support, it's hard to explain unless I know you, Jeffy, I know you've been there, but it really is hard to explain. And it does have a bearing on how you perform. And I think penalties and defensive breakdowns is the key to the whole thing. And since Bentonville's playing at home, I'm picking Bentonville.
Coach Smith going to Bentonville, and I'm with Coach Smith. I've been over there and played too many times, and it is a hard place to play, and they play better at home than
Best stadium. It's
yeah.
a phenomenal stadium.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, here's my pick. I think Bentonville has a good shot. They've set this thing up, but I go back a little bit with the Conway game, the speed factor. I'm with Mouth now. I think they run better than they don't have team speed. I think the running backs fast, and I think they got some guys in the secondary to help out a little bit, but too much team speed here in a close one. Look for this one, maybe an overtime game or a last second field goal, something like that. I'm going to take the Purple Dogs just because of team speed. I think they got more talent, but Jody Grant will have the Tigers ready to go. All right. We're going to do something a little different here. We're going to have a little bonus pick. This will count for 2 points right here. All right. We don't do this very much, but we've got a huge college game. It's not LSU and Arkansas this week. It is the Harding Bisons at the Ouachita Baptist. We got a bunch of Arkansas kids. This is a big national game. Harding's ranked #1 in the nation, longest winning streak in the nation. Before we make this pick, let's go ahead and bring on a Lindsay and Associated guest, former coach at El Dorado, now breaks down to GSC, Coach Stephen Jones. Well, let's bring on our Lindsay and Associated guest, former El Dorado Wildcat, former state champion also, Coach Stephen Jones. Coach, welcome to the show.
Man, so glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. Fired up to talk some great American Conference football.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you're covering this now, and I was going through Little Rock not too long ago. You're on the radio covering all this. You've got players also in this, and you're very invested in this. Talk to our audience a little bit how tough this league is, and just really how the Arkansas schools have kind of dominated this conference a little bit, especially with Harding, Ouachita, and Henderson and those guys. But talk to us a little bit about the conference, and then we're going to get into the Harding Ouachita matchup.
Yeah, sure. Well, as expected at the beginning of the year, the Arkansas teams in the Great American Conference have been dominant. The Oklahoma teams are kind of the bottom of the conference. There's 12 teams, 6 from each state. All of the Oklahoma schools have kind of beat up on each other, but struggled against the Arkansas opponents. As far as the Arkansas side goes, very top heavy. I compare it to probably the SEC. I mean, you've got maybe an Alabama and a Georgia in there with Harding and Ouachita, 2 teams that have their program just playing on another level. And then you got that next tier, maybe Southern Arkansas, Henderson State. Those guys, Arkansas Tech's been very efficient offensively this year. UAM has shown at times that they can put up a lot of points, and they have some elite players from the state of Arkansas. So overall, this conference just continues to get better, and I think it's a testament to these coaches that have established the programs and really put roots down. Like you think about Todd Knight, how long he's been at Ouachita, over 20 years as the head coach. Paul Simmons has been at Harding for a long stretch. Hud Jackson's been at UAM for probably over 10 years at this point. Scott Maxfield just retired, but he was at Henderson for a long time and built a good program there. And Kyle Shipp, Coach Shipp's been there at Arkansas Tech for a good bit now too. So all of these guys have established that they're going to get in these communities and build these programs, and you've seen the results and their improvement each year. I mean, my goodness, you have the national champion from this conference last year, and Harding just playing on another level with a 25-game win streak. Been amazing to watch.
It has been. Well, let's get into this matchup. And like I said, we cover high school and all kinds of football on this show, obviously, but this Harding Ouachita, it's a national matchup. It's a huge matchup. Talk to us a little bit. Harding's coming off that national championship, and they just keep spurring on. Talk to us a little bit about their win streak, and they had a dominant performance against everybody thought it'd be a big matchup with Henderson State a couple of weeks ago, 66 to bone. Talk to us a little bit about their team and some of the Arkansas kids. I know we got a lot of kids from Harrison, we got kids from P Ridge up there, all kinds of Arkansas kids. Talk to us a little bit about what makes this Harding team so great.
Yeah, this Harding team, you're right with the Arkansas kids. Both of these rosters have a lot of Arkansas players. But yeah, starting with the quarterback, Cole Keelan from Harrison, very efficient player. And then another Arkansas product that's made a ton of plays all season long is Cabot's Braden Jay. That guy makes plays week in and week out. And I think he could be on Sports Center top 10 like every Saturday, just doing some crazy stuff. The way that he has explosiveness, but also understands the field, understands space, and how to read blocks and cut. I mean, he's playing at a high level as well, and he may be undersized, but I think he's got an opportunity to continue to play after college. I mean, he's a guy that continues. It seems to get better each week. He's leading the nation in rushing yards per attempt at right around 20, and every time he touches the football, something special happens. But yeah, I mean, these guys, Harding and Washita, both have recruited the state of Arkansas very well. Majority of the roster is all Arkansas, in-state kids. As far as Harding goes, Andrew Miller, sophomore running back from Harding Academy. Again, I mentioned Braden Jay and Keelan Cole from Harrison. But offensively, especially, they have Arkansas products making plays on Saturdays. And then as far as Washita goes, same story. Eli Livingston, quarterback from Batesville, he was out last week. I don't know his status right now, but they had a true freshman from Prosper, Texas that filled in and looked pretty good in Nate Tinbard. But, every time you hear Rex Nelson calling one of these games, you hear Connor Flanagan from Fayetteville, you hear Kendall Gibbons from Little Rock Christian, who's their all-time leading touchdown scorer at Washita now. You hear Coach Embry's guy from Warren, Key McKnight, making plays. He's already a grad student there. I think he's been playing there for like 10 seasons. And then you got Carter McElhaney, explosive playmaker from Greenbrier, sophomore that's making a lot of plays offensively, but also on special teams. And on the defensive side of the ball, Josiah Johnson, one of their best defensive backs, Pulaski Academy product, flying all over the field, making a ton of plays. And then Mario Ganter Jr. from El Dorado, God's Country, lockdown, Mario Island. He's a great corner. He's just making plays every week. And I expect that he continues to do that too. Not a lot of people are challenging him over there at corner. They got him on tape last year. He's a pretty good player, so they're staying away from him. But yeah, it's fun to see Arkansas high school football kids making plays on Saturdays.
No doubt. Well, let's go ahead and get in the thick of this matchup a little bit.
Yeah.
Harding's going to come in with the triple option. They're scoring a bunch of points, and they're, everybody gets on their offense and gets all the notoriety. But Coach Roddy Moto there defensively, I mean, he is shutting people down all the time. He's one of the best defensive minds in the state of Arkansas. And then you get over to Washington, Coach Todd Knight, Coach Shockled's going to have the offensive line ready to go, and Derb and those guys offensively. And they've heard this for, it ain't like they hadn't been in that position either. And this has been a big game for years. Break down a matchup. What do you think how this thing plays out, number one? Number two, what's some matchups that we really need to key in on?
Yeah, one matchup for sure, and you'll know this, the dreaded form wreck as a coach, trying to get everybody lined up right. I mean, both of these teams, you see Harding condensing formations, and they'll have, different spacing with their offensive line, like wide splits, like I said, condensed sets, overloaded sets. And then Washita, a lot of personnel changes, and they're really like a 50-50 team offensively as far as total yards goes, running and throwing the football. So, but they do a lot of unbalanced stuff. They do a lot of motion, a lot of stuff pre-snap, a lot of movement, some shifts. So, half the battle this week for both of these teams is going to be getting lined up right. Just getting the players in the right spot. Both of them have playmakers. Both of them, each side of the ball have guys that have shown in the first 6 games they can make plays, but who's going to get lined up correctly? Who's going to take a play off? And then even more than that for Washita defensively, their D-line's got to keep the Harding O-line from climbing up to those linebackers. That's going to be a big part of it. And but yeah, there are a lot of little matchups within what that might look like, but a big portion is going to be this week getting lined up right to a lot of challenging formations and looks.
Well, and you brought that up. I mean, obviously getting lined up right. I know Washita people play, Harding. They spend time with them during the springtime, getting prepared for all that. They're going to bring some wrinkles in that part of it. What's kicking game going to be a big factor in this one or not?
Yeah, I think it always is a factor in a high profile game like this. And both of these teams so efficient on special teams. You know how much pride Todd Knight takes in special teams. I mean, he's calling it, right? He's the coordinator, probably the only coach in college football in all divisions that coordinates his own special teams. Just attention to detail there. And then Coach Simmons, his team's made a lot of plays on special teams this year too. So I think the big matchup there is who has that one flaw, who has that one mishap on special teams, and maybe it's a field position battle, but somebody's going to make a mistake on special teams, and that's going to be a big part of the game.
Well, those will get you off here with this. How do you see this thing playing out? What's the keys for both teams?
Yeah, for Washita defensively, they can't let Harding get a 2-score lead, right? They can't let them get a 2-possession lead. I mean, it's just demoralizing when they're up, 10 points because they're not going to give you the football back, right? They're going to burn the clock. They're going to hold on to it. They're going to get 3, 4, 5 yards at a time and then hit an explosive play. So just making sure that, you go score for score with them in the first half and make those adjustments because, again, if they get a 2-possession lead, they're very hard to catch up with. That's going to be important. I mentioned Washita's D-line. They've played well this year, but they've got to keep those Harding O-linemen from climbing up to that linebacker level. And if they get a pad on those linebackers, it's going to be tough. And Harding's going to make those plays in space, and they're going to be challenging to tackle. And then can OBU limit the explosive plays? If you've watched Harding any this year, so many plays of over 50-plus yards. I mean, you typically call an explosive play, maybe 12 or more on the ground, 15 or more in the air. For Harding, it's like 50, 50 or more. They have those week in, week out. So limiting those, keeping everything in front, and just making sure you can do a good job of accounting for in the triple option scheme, every single back on every single snap because you never know who has the football.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on, breaking this down for us, and giving our audience to let them know, kids that are playing, obviously local people, they're going to know who their kids are. But it's going to be a great atmosphere and a great game this coming Saturday. We appreciate you coming on, Coach.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on. You guys are doing an awesome job for the state of Arkansas. This is great.
Well, we appreciate it. We're going to have you on as guest picker here a little way down the road here.
I look forward to it. Thanks, Coach.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right.
Take care. Well, guys, he broke it down for us. You're sitting there with Harding, I don't know, huge winning streak, longest in the nation. Washita sit down there for a whole year and listen to all of it about them winning the conference championship, national championship. Coach Knight's going to have them ready to go. Daryl, break this one down. What do you think? Who are you picking?
Well, I call it the God Bowl. This is the God Bowl. This right here is, God's winning this one, no matter what happens. You got Harding. Harding is phenomenal. Coach Knight. You got 2 legendary coaches in just our state of Arkansas, and you want to talk about home field advantage. Golly, this place will be hopping both sides. Will be packed. So this is a great. And like you said earlier, about probably 80% of both rosters are made up of Arkansas kids. So you're going to get to see some kids from Cabot play for Harding. That guy's explosive. They're so good. And like I said, they've got a huge winning streak. I know Coach Knight's probably playing the whole undercard. Hey, they don't appreciate us Baptists down here. I can imagine what's going on over there. So this is one of those games that just, heck, like you said, it's probably the biggest game in the state of Arkansas this week. But man, I gotta like the Hardin Bisons. I think once again, you roll in there on a streak and you do what they do, and let me tell you something about Harding is they get a lot of pub on offense. Yeah. Man, they're defensively, you don't move the ball.
Coach,
it's unreal.
Coach Moat, their defense coordinator, does an outstanding job. One of the top coaches. He, be former Harding Academy head coach, unbelievable coach.
Oh my gosh, you don't move the ball. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, they are so sound. Just their gap discipline and filling I mean, it's unreal. I mean, it's unreal what they do on the defensive side. And you think, well, they don't see a bunch of passing in practice. They do somehow because they defend it too well. So I think Harding's just they're in this row right here. You gotta like being at OBU right now though, because you can play the undercard up. And I know Coach Knight's I mean, he's a Hall of Famer too, and man, this is what I mean, you can just smell it. It's football, baby. I mean, it's football. This is a God Bowl. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, there's nothing you can't hide about that right there. But I'm going to take Harding. I'm going to take the Bisons.
Taking the Bisons. Mouth, you're supposed to be down there Saturday, I believe, checking out.
Yes, I am indeed. And the Mouth will be getting there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where he'll be sure to have a parking spot. I'm just telling you, Mouth's going to sit in the car till 6 o'clock to come out and watch the game, listening to other games. This is a great matchup right here. Two great programs. Two of the winningest programs in present day Division II football.
Yeah,
Harding Bisons and the Ouachita Tigers. And Ouachita's got an explosive offense. Ouachita is much better on defense than they have been in years and years. And I'm going, I live here in Searcy. I know Coach Simmons, like what they're doing with their program. But Coach Smith knows there is no way the Mouth is going against the big redhead Brett Shockley and the Ouachita Tigers. He would absolutely call me right now and cuss me up down one end and down the other if I didn't take him. I'm going Ouachita Tigers.
Oh, I can't believe Coach Shockley get on you like that.
Oh, yeah.
Coach Smith, you know both these programs. You played against them. Your old UCA Bear back in the day. You got some of your former players coaching this game. Talk to us about this one.
Well, I tell you, all those points that the Pickers made were awesome, and they're true, except for the Mouth. I don't know where Shockley could have learned any curse words. But anyway, it's Arkansas kids, man, and that's just awesome that we have, like what you and I know as the old AIC, which relied on Arkansas kids, and to give these high school kids, just like the schools that we talked about today, but to give those kids, can't everybody be a Division I football player? And if you love the game, we got it right here. So anyway, with all that said, I can't go against my son. Shockley is he's just like a son to me. And Coach Knight does a great job, and both teams are well coached. But I got to go with the Tigers.
With the Tigers. I'm going to go with the Bisons. I think the streak just stays alive. They're on a mission. But I'm going to tell you, Coach Knight is going to have those guys ready. There's going to be some people playing extremely hard. And if you can get to that game, or you can get it on YouTube or wherever you can find it, you need to find it because it's going to be a great game.
Oh, I think the pregame speech too is going to be phenomenal. Both sides, they just mic them up, man.
Amen.
I mean, it'll be phenomenal. But Braden Jay, that guy, Cabot, legend, coach's son, all that good stuff. That guy has 411 yards. He's averaging 19 yards a carry.
Good Lord.
They know you're running it.
Yeah.
By the way. They know it's coming. That guy's averaging almost 19 yards a carry. That's phenomenal.
Before I let you off here, he made Scott Reed a really good coach, Cabot.
Yeah. Coach Reed, yeah.
He's making Coach Simmons a good coach also.
Yes, sir. He sure has. But you know what they say about the bad thing about streaks?
They got to be broken.
They come to an end sometimes.
They do, but I think Harding's just loaded up and ready to roll this year. All right, guys. Hey, let's kind of recap here. Daryl, real quickly, what are you looking for this week?
Well, you're looking at the Walnut Ridge Rivercrest game. I think that kind of shakes out the East a little bit, gives, Rivercrest a chance maybe to get some separation there. They can't look forward to Osceola coming to town later on. That makes that even a bigger game. Walnut Ridge can get right in the middle of everything again. Then you got Fayetteville, Bentonville, because that's going to pretty much settle out the West.
Yeah.
And then you got Springdale and Rogers going at it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you've got several games in the West that are going to shake out because guess what? It's getting to be what time of the year? It's playoff time, baby. We're making our push right here. Everybody's getting their push. You're either in or you're out, man. I mean, we're throwing everything that we got at people. We're throwing, bubble screens at the 1 yard line, for God's sakes. I mean, we're trying to score a will here. So yeah, this is the stretch run right here. This is gonna be a big month right here to finish out, and then makes everything else special down the line. But yeah, those are the games I'm kind of looking at.
Mouth, real quick, what are you looking for?
I am looking at the two big games in the 7A West. I'm looking at Fayetteville, Bentonville, and the one I'm really looking forward to is Springdale Rogers. I can't wait to see how those two games, how that game breaks out Friday night about 10 o'clock when it's over.
Well, and I'm with you. I'm really interested in checking out the Farmington Bolonya game. Obviously, that Alma Greenbrier game to kind of see where everybody's at. We're starting to get some playoff mode here. Obviously, the Fayetteville Bentonville game is going to be a huge game also. Coach Smith, how about your Wampus Cats? They got Little Rock Central this week, and then, boy, they're fixing to hit a tough stretch with Little Rock Christian, PA, and Bryan. What do you think about the Wampus Cats and that 7A Central, which you know well? How's that going to finish out down the road?
Well, I'm very proud of Coach James and his staff. And the thing that I have noticed and comparing it to last year, and the Cats did the same thing last year, and they're doing it again this year. But boy, I'll tell you, I've seen every game, and they improve every week. And, they continue that, like you said, the meat of the deal's coming.
Yeah.
I mean, the meat of the deal is coming, and that's good. I think we have a hell of a coaching staff, and they do a great job. I mean, and I'm just, it'll surprise Daryl, but I'm a very proud Wampus Cat.
My favorite Wampus Cat.
No doubt. Well, guys. Well, Coach Smith, first of all, I'm going to do this. We appreciate you coming on the show, and we're going to send you a T-shirt and send you a gift certificate to All American Steakhouse here in Springdale. When you're up here, you get your free meal. But I also want to do this about Coach Smith. Coach Smith and he didn't ask me to do this, and he probably might get upset about me doing this, and I don't care. Coach Smith is going to be on the ballot for the Hall of Fame coming out here real soon, and he deserves to be in. Let's, you football coaches, get out and vote for him. Daryl, I know you're get some of your guys, and let's get Coach Smith in the Hall of Fame, because if anybody deserves to be in, it is Coach Kenny Smith.
Well, and he deserves it more than anything else for what he's done, the impact he's made on Arkansas football. Yeah. But man, you want to talk about a great person. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame person by far, and he's the only person who's on this show that's not a Hall of Famer. All right? I mean, me and Mouth are the only two that's holding this show up. I mean, you come on this show, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, we even got representatives getting elected. I mean, we got a guy that's getting elected here in November, and we can't get Coach in. I mean, God bless him.
He's getting in. We're getting him in this.
Yes. May I say something on that front before we get off here?
Yes, sir.
Coaches, I'm not begging you. I'm telling you, elect Kenny Smith to the Hall of Fame. You ought to be ashamed he's not in it right now. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well, I guarantee it. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming. Guys, hey, we've had just thank our sponsors here real quick, Lindsay and Associate, All-American Steakhouse in Springdale, and the Pigs brand. But also, hey, we're on YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe button. We're on X, Coaches Pod, and Facebook and Instagram. Make sure you follow us on there. A lot of information coming out. Daryl, your top six will be out midweek, and then we'll get those players' games and that part of it. Well, Coach Smith, we appreciate you coming on, man, and just loved having you on here.
Thank you, guys. I'm humbled about what you just said, but I really enjoyed our visit, and y'all make each Friday night a lot of fun.
Well, we do. We appreciate you coming on. Well, for Coach Jeff Williams, Coach Daryl Fimple, and the Mouth Brent Bender, and our guest picker, the great Kenny Smith, we'll see you next time.